Welcome back, Nina and Diecast collectors. We are looking at 1965 and 1966 Matchbox Lesney year by year. This is a video series I am going to continue to produce, looking at my vintage collection, these old diecast cars that many of us have come to know and love, finding them at flea markets or perhaps in our parents' attics or maybe even our own basements. And, well, just about anywhere. They were made in the millions and have been for quite some time. Matchbox is something I have collected alongside Hot Wheels and many other brands. A while back, I came across these catalogs on eBay, and I went about getting one for every year from 1964 onwards. We've already looked at the 64 catalog, and we have a 1965 catalog and a 1966 catalog. Both are USA edition catalogs, and they are full color, full artists work in here, all hand drawn. There's no pictures or certainly no CGI, because this comes from a time long before computers were making any sort of content for anything, because it just wasn't up to the task back then. It wasn't even invented. So I've got a small number of vehicles to show you that were new for 1965, and quite a few actually for 1966. The bulk of the Matchbox cars that you're going to see in both of those two catalogs were actually already seen in the 1964 catalog, which I've already made a video of on YouTube. So you can check that one out if you haven't seen it and would like to see many of the vehicles in the pages of the all three of these catalogs, 64 through to 66. So what happened was each year, if something changed, a new model was released, then one of the collector numbers was actually replaced. The vehicle in that collector number was replaced with a different casting, and the collector number stayed the same. So 1965 will have many of the cars still for sale as the ones that were sold in 1964. And the new ones are the ones that I'm going to highlight in my video. So I won't be repeating the castings actually out on the tabletop that have already been on the table previous. I'll try to make note of the ones I can remember as the years change. But this, I might not get everything. And thereby watching the videos in order, you will see everything in my collection. And you can certainly follow along and see what you have in your collection. And also see what kind of interesting artwork and story work is in some of these catalogs. Now, there's an actual picture. I said it was all artist work, but we have an actual picture of probably something to do with that Matchbox store. It could be the Matchbox factory headquarters. We'll find out. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time reading everything in these catalogs because it is quite comprehensive. We will go through it page by page, and I'll pause for sure on anything so that you can take a read if you like. But we're going to try to keep this video to under 1 hour. And hopefully I can do that with quite a few minutes to spare. You never quite know, though, as I am quite an enthusiast myself for collecting. As you are well aware if you've watched my channel and my year-by-year videos, I just love collecting these cars and making sense of what year they were produced and looking at all their fine details, even if the vehicles themselves aren't in such fine condition anymore. Here's a quick recap of how many vehicles we looked at from 1964, all put into this 48 car case, along with many a duplicate. And it's nice that they all fit in here so well, sometimes 2 to a spot, so well over 50 vehicles in this particular case, as well as all of these vehicles were also from 1964 or earlier. And these ones, and then down below, these were previous to 1964. We covered those in the 1964 video. Like I said, I don't have any catalogs from earlier. More 1964 vehicles. So that's what I had covered. And since making that video, I also found my Matchbox Models of Yesteryear collection, which is very small and in very poor condition. But we have an opportunity to look at 3 models that were in the 1964 catalog and one more that is in the 1966 catalog. So not a lot of models of yesteryear in my collection, in very, very rough condition. But let's just go ahead and just finish off the 64 models that I had. And I think that was the 1907 Rolls-Royce Silver Ghost, number Y15. I think this is it. Missing several components, as you can see. And I've got it upside down. There it is, 1907 Rolls-Royce. As well, let's see, we had another page of models of yesteryear. Ah, there it is. This interesting 1912 Packard Landaulet. Mine's in actually pretty decent condition. It's missing a headlight and the seat, but otherwise it's pretty much all there. Now these are not 1/64 scale or anywhere near. Not that Matchbox is in 1/64 scale at this time. I mean, a few of them might have been, such as that tractor. They're certainly not specified to be in any certain scale. They were Matchbox scale, but these ones are certainly larger and would not be the typical Matchbox scale. In fact, they go basically by the size. 3.5 inches or 96 millimeters for this 1928 Mercedes-Benz 36-220. Well, mine is roasted. It's only got one wheel left and not much else. So basically a bunch of junk, but just really cool to see these models. They were built extremely well, probably for the older collector at the time, although they were strong enough to hold up to some amount of play, clearly by evidence that these things still even exist with this much damage. And now, one page at a time, in the 1965 Collector's Catalog. Let's just look at that artwork on the front first. Fantastic. Check out all these open-wheel race cars, of which I have one. There it is. Well, it's not exactly the same car, but it's an open-wheel race car. In fact, I think it might be more similar to the one in the background, that blue one with the interesting twin grill front nose. And that car, when we get to it, it's in this catalog. We'll just wait till we get to it. Really cool. So we've got a lot of models here, 1 through 76, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And we're going to be flipping through this one a little quicker than in the 1964 catalog because, as I said, we've already seen many of these. 1 through 75. There was 75 vehicles in each year available to collect in the Matchbox series. Page 1 shows series vehicles 1 through 15, I suppose. Yes, we're going to go across the top. So a lot of these vehicles we have already looked at in the 1964 catalog, whichever ones I already had, that is. And new ones for this year included the number 13 wreck truck, which replaced the 13 vehicle from 1964. And I'm not going to go into the vehicles they replace each year because it's just going to become too repetitive as far as the what you're seeing video to video, and we've got lots to look at as it is. So here is the BP truck. Now I just realized the one in this picture has a green cab and a yellow back, so I may actually eat my words on this later and find out that the version with a yellow cab and a green back came out years later, potentially not in 1965 but actually 1966. That is quite possible. Anyways, we've seen it now, and we may see it again if I'm mistaken, as I did find a few color variation errors from my 1964 video. For instance, we looked at this Volkswagen van with the opening door, camper van, in the 1964 video. However, in the picture, it was kind of like a mauve, sort of light purple, and I thought that it was this vehicle and maybe just the colors were a little different. As it turns out, this particular van I found in the 1968 catalog as I was looking through and ahead to see what was going on. I'm glad I did so because, you know, it's stuff like this that I might actually find that there's paint variations in the years to come. Regardless, we'll move forward. So all these other vehicles we've already looked at. And now we are on page 2, which is showing series vehicles 16 through 30. It's actually both pages are showing you all these. And that brings us to number 20. This one was new for 1965, and that is the Taxi. It's a taxi cab, and it's actually a Chevrolet Impala. Probably a new car for about that time. Looks like to be about a 1964 65 Chevrolet Impala. And it has the driver in there, which is really cool as part of the interior. This one's in actually fantastic condition. Now notice instead of tampos, they use stickers. So we've got a little sticker, and it has a hitch too. So if you have some of the Matchbox trailers, for instance, this trailer caravan, you can actually pull it with this Taxi. Now I have a trailer caravan, but it's not yellow, and this is all that's left of it. This one you'll see in the 1967 catalog, but just to give you a demonstration how the hitch works. It actually works quite well. And quite a fun toy, I'm sure, for children back in the day. All right, so, and the Taxi, it was a popular casting. They made a lot of them. Check out how many I happen to have just from perusing garage sales, flea markets, and I don't know, wherever I can find old Matchbox cars, which is increasingly becoming rare. It's just a fun little car to collect. Certainly I have my favorites. That's definitely one of them. Most of them are not that easy to come across. Let's see, can we identify any other vehicles on this page? I don't think so. There are no other vehicles that I have from 1965. And now looking at the next page, 31 through 45, we certainly find the Studebaker station wagon. Now I don't have the original figurine with the dog. It looks like a hunter. He's out hunting with his dog in his Studebaker Lark wagon. Another popular casting. They must have made a lot of them because I have a few of these. I'm only going to bring one to the table because I have quite a few of them actually. But this is a nice kind of cerulean blue with a light blue sliding top. It still works. Has a hitch. And there's the information on the bottom. Collector number 42. It did come out in various blue paint variations and even other colors later on. So I think maybe that's why we only have one here, because I have in general brought all of my duplicates of everything up to the video here just to make sure I stay organized. All right, so looking at the other vehicles here available, we find the Ford Corsair with boat. I don't have any Ford Corsairs that still have a boat, but I do have the car, and that's pretty important. Just a tiny little car, and the casting size is kind of reflective of that when placed next to a larger American car such as the Impala. So one would almost say they are to scale. This is a right-hand drive car, so it probably was more oftenly found in Europe, or at least this particular one would have been. So I've got, I have 5 of those cars, none of them in very good condition as you can see, but for me, condition doesn't matter with this collection. It's just such a cool old collection. Many years before I was even born, these were created and being played with, probably by, like my parents, for instance, may have played with some of these models at one point. Not these particular models. I've found these elsewhere, but we do find the tractor, number 50 tractor. I think we looked at this one in the 64 catalog, but something was different about it. I think it had red wheels, and now here it is with yellow. This one's missing the steering wheel, unfortunately, but otherwise nicely detailed. And as we go along, they developed a trailer for it, which was new also for this year. And the trailer would have come with 3 barrels. I'm not sure if this is an original barrel. It doesn't have a top on it, but let's see if we can get a focus on this barrel. You can see it looks like it might be original. The trailer's in great shape. I got this at my local Diecast store, Aurelia Diecast, and that was a good little find. I think I paid $10 for it, which I thought was okay, given that I would be able to feature in this video for you guys. Kind of neat. We've got another open wheel race car. I don't have that one. I don't know if it's new for this video either, or year. I'm not sure why I mentioned it. Just the open wheel race cars being kind of prominent on my mind from the opening start of this catalog. Other vehicles. Let's see, which one have we not looked at? We haven't seen the open wheel vehicle, and obviously we haven't talked about this big truck yet. But I think other than that, we've pretty much covered all of the new vehicles that we're going to see in the 1965 catalog. So from here forth, until we find this car and that truck, we can kind of just go through each page and observe the artwork. There it is, the Ferrari Race Car, number 73. Well, I wouldn't know that this was number 73 anymore, or that it had a driver at one point, because mine does not have either, although you can see the pinhole where the driver would have been attached. We were missing one tire. I really like the detail on these old wheels, and they're just such finely made old castings. To have these in mint condition must be a real joy to have so many gems, but they're still fun no matter what condition they're in. Okay, So like I said, there could be some new models in here that I don't have from 1965. It does have the new Matchbox series, so these would be new for 1965. And although I do have many of these models, I don't have them in this particular variation. For instance, I have this vehicle here, but I don't have it with red cherries on the top. I have it, many of them with blue, which you'll see in the 1966 catalog. So minor variations. I also have the Ford GT race car, but many of mine have a red interior, I believe, which wasn't released for several years after 1965. So this white interior Ford GT racing car is not one that I can count in my current collection. Matchbox gift sets are pretty cool. Usually they encompass many of the vehicles that you saw in the 1 through 75 series. And of course you can pause on that if you want to read more about the details on those. But basically they had everything, including models of Yesteryear, known as the Veteran Vintage Set. And then we had these diorama style 3-dimensional play sets, fire station, and looks like a British Petroleum gas station or service station. Now we get into the Matchbox major packs. These are the larger vehicles. And for 1965, there's our first one, the GMC tractor with hopper train, designated the M4. Now this is a really cool truck, and I'm going to show you the details of that right now. I'm just going to have to clear a little bit of room here, the smaller vehicles. I'm going to roll this one off to the side for just a moment. Check out all those wheels. And let's take a look at the GMC tractor with hopper. Now this vehicle is all one piece. It can't be separated, although the trailer can be separated from the second trailer, the B trailer. And just look at the details on these hoppers. Dual rubber or plastic wheels, I should say, not rubber. Separate pieces, often missing on played with versions. Incredibly strong plastic hitches and metal parts on these original 60s castings. And just great functionality. Just love it. You can see how much fun these would be to play with as a child, even in the sandbox. Of course, that's where many of them ended up and have destroyed, unfortunately. These ones were lucky enough to have been spared such treatment, hence why they still have all the tires and wheels. And what I believe to be original paint jobs, although there may be some touch-ups. Some people had their dad go around with a silver paintbrush and paint the headlights and whatnot. We can look at the diagrams to see that the front grille does appear to be silver in this particular model. This one has the gray wheels. However, on this truck, we've got black wheels. So could be from a different year potentially, but this is very similar to the one that we're seeing in this picture. It also has some stickers on the side. It would have said Fruhov, I don't know, fla fla fla. I can't read mine because, well, oh yes I can. Froho, Frohoff, I don't know. You let me know in the comments if you know what that company is all about. If it's an actual company, probably is. And how horribly I've mispronounced it. Apologies for that. Check this out. Look at the steering capability of these trucks. These are among some of my favorite Matchbox vehicles. That will bring us to the giant Dodge B-Train truck. We're going to have to back everything up just a bit here to see it. And that is this beast right here. The it doesn't say the year. Dodge tractor with tipper train. A tipper train. Now check out all the wheels on it. We're going to count them in a second. But again, the cab is permanently attached to the first trailer. The second trailer hooks up to the first trailer in a different method than we saw on the hopper tractor trailer. This one's got like a metal hook. And that is original. It's got that kind of axle section that can pivot. And then very strong hydraulic cylinders made of plastic with metal pushers. An actual big metal tipper flap and stickers on the side of it. So I bought this truck off of eBay, I believe, and I think I paid about $100 for it back in the day. Maybe not quite that much, but with shipping, probably near close to that. And I just really wanted some nice examples of these big old Matchbox major pack trucks, because they really are superior to many other models of trucks from the same era. Just really nice. Now, certainly there were manufacturers such as Husky and Corgi that made some good models too. But there's something about an old Lesney major truck that I just really am fond of. Even though I didn't grow up playing with these tractor trailers, I certainly wished I could have. How many wheels are on this thing? Well, we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 wheels on the truck part, and then 6 more on the first trailer, and another 10 on the back. So that's a lot of wheels. Okay, what have we got to look at next? Well, there were many very interesting vehicles in here. I particularly think this BP auto tanker is pretty cool. M1 designation. Most of these were seen in the previous catalog, 1964. And I think we are pretty much out of vehicles to look at that were in my particular collection, but just lots of very cool trucks and tractors and construction equipment to look at. Now we're into the models of yesteryear. I don't have any new ones to show you for this 1965 catalog that are in my collection. But we even got some big old trains. The garage makes a resurgence. Matchbox Fire Station. And there again is a new drawing of the BP Matchbox Sale and Service Station. And now we have these roadway play sets printed brightly in full color. I believe we saw this in the 1964 catalog as well. So something that's been sold again. There is the open wheel racetrack depiction, kind of in line with the opening cover. And then, of course, a price guide for everything you saw in this manual catalog, not a manual. And now to look at the 1966 International Catalog USA edition. Some really neat artwork, clearly from Great Britain in the background. I've got some British themed vehicles. Some American ones in there as well, but I believe that this is maybe in Great Britain. I'm not sure exactly. The double-decker buses certainly indicate that this must be in Europe somewhere. It starts out with the Matchbox story and this actual picture taken of the Lesney factory, perhaps. Looks like it was located right along a river. It all began in 1953 with a miniature diecast model of the Coronation coach with its team of 8 horses. And in Coronation year, over 1 million were sold, and this tremendous success was followed by the introduction of the first miniature vehicle models packed in matchboxes. And so the famous Matchbox series was born. So we can go on to read about this, but basically we've already talked about this. Models ranging from numbered 1 until 75 were produced by 1960. Then they were regularly withdrawn and replaced by new models, which included many of the new, now famous Matchbox features, such as windows, opening doors, suspension, engines, and so on. Thusly, the Matchbox series is ever-changing. So that's basically what we kind of covered already. At least I got some of the facts mostly correct, I would say. Although I had not read this excerpt before when I did the 1964. This would have been a good opening story for my 1964 video. All the same, here it is in 1965. Tremendous success of this new range was soon followed by the introduction of the models of yesteryear, Matchbox Major Packs, and Matchbox King Size. A similar demand for these has grown, and today Matchbox models are enjoyed in just about every country in the world. Today is in 1965. Well, and probably today as well. Matchbox is alive and well. Some more terrific artwork. I love the artwork that they have in here. So the first page is showing collector numbers 1 through 12 in the 1 through 75 series. And let's see which new models we can find that I have in my collection. Well, right off the bat, I'm just peering over here in the background. I think we'll start with the models actually in the background. I do have this big truck, but let's go in order that the catalog shows. I'm just going to kind of grab it, tray here in the background, and we're going to look at the Safari Land Rover. This is the first release of this casting, and many more were made in blue. If you have one in blue, it comes in the years to follow. But the first release in 1966 was the green version for collector number 12. And I have one that's missing luggage on the roof, which is pretty common for this model because that luggage piece is plastic. Let me put them back as we go. There is the tow truck that we looked at from 1965, and indeed I was correct. We looked at it in the castings that I have in the 1965 portion of this video, and it had a green cab and a yellow back. Here it is with the appropriate colored green back and yellow front. So my mistake, apologies for that. This vehicle is actually in the 1966. Okay, the next one to look at is number 18, the Caterpillar Crawler Bulldozer. And I have one here with the original tracks. This one, I have to thank Stephen Papa and Peter Brewer. One of those two gentlemen included this in a random act of kindness, large collection of old Lesney vehicles they sent me many years ago. But here it is, still with the original rubber tracks. Incredible. No damage other than a few chips. I would never attempt to roll this tractor. Keep calling it a tractor. It's a bulldozer, because this is what happens. The tracks just disappear, and even the armature here breaks for the shovel. So I've got a few varieties in various states of disrepair. Here's another one all busted up. Made great little diorama junkyard display pieces, and I have definitely made quite a few diorama setups in the past with these. Looking back at my videos, you'll probably find some of those if you look hard enough. All right, let's see what else we can find that is new. We've got number 14. I missed number 14. I do have several vehicles to show you of the ambulance. Nope, sorry, that's the wrong ambulance. That one was already viewed in a previous year. Oh, there. The hydraulic excavator. We looked at this one in 1964's video, year by year, but in actuality, the more correct year to look at my particular models, which are very broken, doesn't even have the shovel in this particular case. All of mine have black wheels, as you can see in this picture. Well, Lesney used to use gray wheels on many of their vehicles that were older, and the ones that I saw in the 1964 catalog still had the gray wheels, whereas clearly now they are black. So just like with Hot Wheels, you can tell a lot about the years they were produced by little details such as the color of the wheels and just those types of details. Let's see, where are we going here? I think I missed one vehicle back here. No, I didn't. Oh, fire trucks. We've got a few fire trucks to show you. They're new, and also the Mercedes. Moving along through the catalog, there again we see the taxi, of course, we just looked at that. And the next vehicle I have to show you is this 1960. And the next vehicle I have to show you is the Mercedes 230 SL with opening doors. This is the only one I have, and this is the condition mine's in. Still has the doors, amazingly. It's definitely discolored and missing its windshield. So that was a new vehicle in 1966. Also new was the Fire Pumper. Quite a popular casting. I've got 6 of them in my collection. This one's in the best condition. Has a Denver Fire Department sticker on the door. And these delicate plastic ladders with hoses on the other side. Just a really nice quality model. So I do have quite a few of those, as you can see here. 6 trucks. And I'm sure we're going to see this crane in a moment. That's the one I was looking for earlier in the catalog, but I'm sure it will show up here in just a minute. Next up, some more fantastic artwork. And this one is depicting that Ford GT, which I just found here with the red interior. So you're going to find that down here at collect number 41. Prone to losing the wheels as they age. All these plastic tires tend to expand over time, and or the wheel hub starts to shrink, making them all very loose. More stickers are found on this car. Just a beautiful model, though. And I've got a few of those. All of them quite roasted. Actually, this one's probably in the best condition of the three that I have. Now, they do roll really nice when the tires are on them. Certainly not as smoothly as a Hot Wheel. Moving backwards, we've got number 30 is the 8-wheel crane. So I have really nice models of these ones. Some of them are in excellent condition. And lots of playability with this. At least it spins. It's got the original hook. This would be a huge truck in real life compared to any of the cars we've looked at. And it must have been a popular new model because look at them all. Got 7 here. From the nicest condition to the worst. This one only has half a wheel on one side. No hook. And oh, both sides, no paint. Hardly any paint. Just robust little vehicles to get that much playwear and still even exist. Who knows what happened. The stories these vehicles could tell would be quite interesting. I keep thinking I've missed a vehicle as I look ahead, and I did. I missed number 5, the London bus. This was another vehicle, this particular casting of mine, that I featured in the 1964 catalog because I got confused. They've made so many of these London buses, but with a different sticker on the side. So this is the British Petroleum Long Life, and here it is exactly the 1966 catalog. So this casting I have now transferred out from the 1964 tray and put it into the 1966 tray. So notice I am bouncing around a little bit here. I'll try to not do that in the future year-by-year videos. I think it would be better if I just put all the vehicles out in a line, in order, so I'm not kind of hunting through the trays. But we're learning as we go here, I suppose. Just learning as we go. Seeing what works with the Matchbox year by year. And I should be no stranger to year-by-year catalog videos, given that I've already done Hot Wheels 1974 all the way up to 1999. But here we are, getting back into it. It's been a little while. Let's see what's new for this page, collector number 42 to 58. And there's that tractor and trailer we saw before. Ah, I see one. I see 2, actually. Got a really nice condition BRM racing car. Mine actually has the driver still. Number 5 stickers on it. That one is all original and it is in fine condition. Looks to be complete. Still has a shiny base. Really nice looking car. So that one is a real gem. And also we've got the number 54 Cadillac Ambulance, which, as you can see now, it has red sirens on the roof instead of the blue as featured in the 1965 catalog. So that's how I was able to correctly put these cars into the 66 catalog collection of vehicles. Now, it's quite a detailed, big old Cadillac Ambulance. The black painted base. And a fairly popular casting. Got 5 of those here. Some of them have the remnants of the sticker on the door, but most have worn completely off. This one has seen better days. Actually, this one here has the more modern wheels. This is actually a newer one, probably belongs in a different year catalog. You can see the difference between the wheels. These are the super fast wheels that would come out later. They would reuse the old castings, just as every other manufacturer has done for all of time, with the older models and newer wheels. So we'll probably move that one around a bit at some point. Here's another one that's just, I don't know why, I'm always fascinated by these completely roached vehicles, almost as much as I am by the ones that are in pristine condition. Just part of my quirk of collecting, I suppose. All right, we've got 2 trays of vehicles left. Like I said, quite a few vehicles for the 1966 portion of this catalog. And here is the number 57 Land Rover fire truck. This one's actually in pretty decent condition, I've got. Has the plastic ladder, which is almost always missing from played with versions, as it just clips in by friction with those 2 little studs on the side. Got a little bit of an anomaly on the side window, but that could have been from the factory. There are the Kent Fire Brigade stickers and emblems on the sides. This one has a plastic chassis, which is something you didn't very often see with the original Matchbox Lesney vehicles. This is like a new cost-cutting attempt, I suppose, because normally these vehicles always had metal castings and very few, or metal bases. Very few castings had a plastic base on a metal body. All right, so we're going to turn the page. I got some more really neat artwork, and we do have a vehicle that is featured in that artwork right here. Is this bus, which is the number 68 Mercedes coach. Check it out. It has a plastic top with the transparent windows. And what a cool old bus that is. Big old Mercedes bus. Luggage doors on the bottom. And what else can we find on this page? The number 59 Fire Chief car is one that I have in my collection. Now this one does not have the correct wheels, so this one will be from a later year, as it has the super fast style wheels, whereas the one in the catalog has the old black simple plastic wheels. So I'm going to probably take that one out, put it aside, as I probably will with the other Cadillac. I'll do that off camera, and keep those for future catalog years where you will see them again. Now I also have a police car in here. I think I must have missed it. I did. That was on the page before. 55 police car. It's the same exact casting, except this one is the police version. And I believe this one has the appropriate wheels, if I'm not mistaken. They might not be. These might actually be another wheel variation. Looks like they're all black, much like these wheels on this tow truck, wreck truck. Here we have this vehicle regardless. I'm going to show it anyways because the stickers look the same. That's close enough in case I don't see it again. I don't want to miss it because it's a pretty cool casting. And it is the Mercury. The old Mercury. Okay. Did we miss any other vehicles as we go here? No. But number 64, MG 1100. I have a couple of those. This is my best condition one. It has a dog peering out the left rear seat and a driver on the right hand side. Nice details with that license plate and grille. Just a very cool little car. The second one I have has had some damage to the roof. Looks a little squashed. And I've got some dump trucks to look at. Yes, there it is. I have 6 of these. And it is called the Grit Spreader. Forgive me, should not have called it a dump truck. It is a grit spreader. It's got the grit spreading device right there. You can see it's actually functional. You can fill this up with a fine sand or grit, and it doesn't dump. So forgive me on that incorrect language to describe this vehicle. It is a spreader. It must be loaded by a tractor of some kind, perhaps something like this, a shovel, and then filled with grit so it can go out and service the roads in wintertime, or perhaps for new road construction. And then that grit will slowly sift through the slot out through the front of the truck. As it drives along, it can build up the road bed, or at least surface the road with salt or sand or whatever. And we've got a few of them. I like doing the old worst versus best, and in my collection that's this kind of comparison, worst versus best condition. Moving along, got one truck left, 2 trucks left to show you, and that is one of the new models, actually, the cattle truck, and the other one is the truck with sight office. However, mine does not have the sight office. So these ones are deemed the newest models for 1966. Here's the cattle truck. It is a Dodge. And it still has a shiny base, and I do have the cattle that comes with it, at least one of them anyways. Appears to be the right cattle, perhaps. I'm hopeful. It's hard to say. And it has an opening door, which is very, very fragile. You don't want to break this thing. Just clips on. Enough that the cattle can just kind of come on out of there. Now the other truck that I have quite a few of these actually. Most of them have the plastic part shattered. This one has a white cattle. And although the cattle have the same kind of I think these are original because they have the same exact mold. One's white, one's black. The ones in the picture are brown. It's hard to say if, you know, which year those cattle came from precisely. Most of my trucks like this are, they look like this. The plastic part is just long gone. Even when the cab is in good shape, the plastic gets so fragile. I've had one myself just shatter under just picking it up. So it depends on how they were stored and kept. But it seems to be a popular casting. I've got about 8 of them. And unfortunately, my truck with sight office is truck without sight office, although the truck itself is in good shape. And there is the truck. It is a Chevrolet. Big old Chevrolet. Does it say that on the base? Nope, just calls it the sight truck. So probably another plastic component easily gone missing. All right, so now we have the Matchbox models are made, how they are made. So we're winding down on this video. I think we've got one vehicle left, and that is the big old major pack truck and one model of Yesteryear. So stick around for that. And now we're just going to go through the rest of this catalog, see what we find in here. Iconic car. I believe that's the Rolls-Royce Silver Ghost. And it looks like the story that we read in the beginning of the last catalog somewhat over again. You can pause there if you want to read it. And then we have an interesting display of a picture display of how these vehicles are made, the stages. So step 1, once the details of a full-size vehicle have been obtained, many hours of careful work are necessary in the main drawing office at Hackney. And here it is. Number 2, in the pattern shop, highly specialized craftsmen carve large wooden models which form the basic shape from which the miniature will eventually be die-cast in millions. Step 3, over 160 skilled toolmakers are employed making the molds for Matchbox models from the finest grade of chrome vanadium steel. And number 4, here's an old factory. There are more than 150 automatic die casting machines at Hackney, and all have been designed, built, and installed by Lesney engineers. And step 5. The spray shop uses nearly 2,000 gallons of lead-free paint every week, and over 2.5 million components can be stove enameled every day. So there you go. For all the concerns about lead paint on old toys, way back in 1966, Lesney Matchbox knew not to paint toys with lead paint, because we now know that, and they knew back then, it's common knowledge now, lead paint is dangerous for children and causes all sorts of problems. Step 6, final assembly takes place on 20 assembly lines, and sometimes several different models and their components come down each line at the same time. Check out all these ladies just sifting through parts to build these tiny little trucks, all parked side by side by side on that conveyor belt. Incredible, and just row after row, 20 of them. Step 7, ingenious packing machines pick up the flat boxes. Ingenious packing machines. Now, we would call a packing machine ingenious. It's just common. Shape them and seal the model at the rate of more than 120 items per minute. I wonder it is nowadays, but still, you know, assembly all the way back into the 60s. Step 8, ultra-modern automatic handling and automatic conveyor system speed the finished models to the transit stores where electronic selection equipment routes each package. Electronic equipment. Look at that. It looks like something out of Star Trek. A bunch of blinking colorful lights going beep, boopity, boop, beep, boopity, beep, beep. And here we have the final story portion here. This guy, what's he doing? He's crafting, looks like a model of Yesteryear. From the highly individual skilled work of the enthusiast who produces handmade samples of new ideas to the multi-million mass assembly of the finished models by hundreds of workers. This is the remarkable story of the manufacture of Matchbox models. Over 3,600 people play their part in a great team with the highest score in the world. Over 100 million models made and sold per year. No wonder I have so many duplicates. So if you think I'm hoarding the cars, They made over 100 million of these things per year, so you can certainly go out and find them. They shouldn't be that expensive, especially in the condition I'm collecting them. You shouldn't have to pay too much for cars that look like this. Anyways, so there you go. A little bit of a story. Enthusiasts of all ages throughout the world collect and enjoy Matchbox. That's certainly true. And it's amazing but true fact that if the models from a year's work in the Lesney factories were placed nose to tail, they would stretch from London, England to Mexico City. 6,000 miles of die-cast cars end-to-end per year in 1966 produced. And here is one lucky child playing with a nice collection of brand new at the time die-cast vehicles and play sets. A wonderful new series of 8 sets, each including many of the latest super detailed models. All the contents are visible in modern dustproof see-through packs printed in full color. Well, that's the gift set. So we've covered these before. Here again, now third time, we can see the British Petroleum Service Center. There's some other packs, may or may not be new. Models of Yesteryear, king size, major packs, commercial truck sets, the fire station. Obviously, we've seen many of these major pack trucks already as well, including the GMC tractor trailer with hopper. So they continued to create models for sale over a course of many years. Unlike what is done nowadays, they only release models for even as little as a few months, maybe only a few weeks. We do have some more models here. I think we already saw that one in the 1964 video as well. Just looking around my shoulder here to try and determine that. We've got some more recognizable vehicles from previous. Some of these will be new that I just don't have to show you. I've got that one truck, which we're going to get to in here somewhere. I think it was a new model. There is the Dodge truck. Tractor trailer with twin tippers. Such a cool truck. I see it with that new artwork. There it is. This is the vehicle that I have. Just going to move aside some of the old toys here. Be a little more clear what we're looking at. I don't have the bulldozer, unfortunately. Ford tractor with Dyson low loader and case bulldozer. So I have the low loader. I just don't have the bulldozer. And there it is. Wheels come off it pretty easily. It has a spare tire, so you might be able to get lucky and just jam one on from there. This truck does come apart, which is different than many of the other tractor trailers we saw. It has like a lifter that helps lift the low loader right off. Just like that. Just like it, you know, if it was coming up and it just hooks up so slickly. Slickly, not sickly. Slickly. Just like in real life. Beep, 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 beep. Ready to go. Okay, so I just put this model of Yesteryear on here because it's like about the same scale-ish size, I guess. Certainly these other models tend to look a little small next to the major packs. The cars don't look so bad. I mean, the trucks are too small to be played with next to the cars if you're scale concerned. But anyways, Matchbox Quiz. Well, there's too much here to go through, so we'll just leave that as a mystery, as the question marks imply. Lovely artwork for the models of Yesteryear, numbers Y1 to Y12. Why? I don't know. Yesteryear, that's why. Okay, what do we have here to show you? I have one vehicle. I don't know what was new here exactly. I certainly see a few that were in the last couple of catalogs. And not that one yet. The one I have is a 1911 Daimler-Benz. And mine is in less than ideal condition. I'm going to focus on that. So, I'm missing the grille, the headlights, the fenders are squashed, the windshield is missing, the front seat is missing, and both back tires are missing. And needless to say, the mirrors are missing. But the emblem or radiator cap is half there anyways. It looks like it should be taller. I really like the quality of these cars now, looking at them a little closer. I don't think I've ever paid very much attention to my collection of models of Yesteryear, simply because this is the condition they're in and I have so few of them. But this would be an interesting collection to have in really good condition. Something I might pursue one day, but probably not, given the prices of shipping for everything is just getting too crazy. And also, I have too much stuff as it is. Anyways, we've got the now famous British Petroleum service station and fire station. The roadway maps are depicted here. Matchbox prices for 1966. And a final lovely piece of hand-drawn artwork on the back showing all these cars. It makes me want to get out and draw buildings and cars just like I used to as a child. I used to love drawing stuff like this. And if I'd had these catalogs back then, I'm certain there would be my own version of this drawing right here on my parents' office or parlor wall somewhere, as I just love drawing buildings and cars with colored pencils back in the day. And I definitely am feeling a little inspiration to do so once again. That was the video, 1965, 1966, Matchbox year by year. Stay tuned for mystery box review videos, more Matchbox year by year videos, and so much more here in the Diecast Museum. If you're after any of this stuff, or even if you just enjoy looking for it, happy hunting.